Thank you. I took the liberty of preparing some slides. Hi. I'm Ryan North. The thing is, I'm not Ryan North. I'm not the Ryan North you're expecting. I'm not the Ryan North who is the author of Dinosaur Comics. I'm not the Squirrel Girl Ryan North. I am a better Ryan North. Notice the tie. That guy's not even wearing a tie. And I'm the better Ryan North because I'm from a better timeline. You guys know about timelines, right? The idea that if you make a choice, it can split. Both those things happen with parallel universe, parallel timelines. I'm from one of the better timelines. Didn't come here to insult you, that's just the fact. And I travel between different timelines, different universes, I check them out. One thing I learned very quickly is when you do travel between universes, you can start ranking those universes objectively, which very quickly raises the question amongst you, I'm sure, what is the ranking of this universe? Like, it's good you're laughing, because no. Look at the past 2 years, no. Again, optimistic. You have a literal garbage patch in the Pacific Ocean. You're not number 3. We could be here a while. I'm going to jump to your actual ranking across all possible timelines is this number. And the thing about this, I'm sorry, I threw these slides together last night. There's a mistake. This is your number. Okay. So the thing about this number is, again, I'm sorry. Okay. So the thing about this number is, other timelines are laughing at you. Your idea of the future is hover cars. Where I come from, we invented hover cars in 2500 BCE. They were easy. Hover bikes, we got 50 years before that. It's half the wheels. It's even easier. So I look at your history, and I'm trying to figure out, like, where did it go wrong? What's the problem you guys are facing that the other timelines are just breezing through no problem? And I went back in time, and I looked at it, and I have the answer for you today, and I'm about to reveal it today for the first time. It is bad hypotheses. It is, more specifically, endless bad hypotheses throughout history. And I thought we'd go through them real quick, just a couple of them from your history. Your ancestors thought these hypotheses were correct. I think it's amazing. This is a compass. So these could have been invented in 200 BCE. This is when your ancient Greeks first noticed that some rocks stick together. They discover, hey, they're kind of magnetic. They're magnets. You actually invented them in 1000 CE. That's 1,200 years. And the thing you need to know is that picture of the compass, that's a modern fancy compass. You got a little stick, you got the compass, the metal that rotates. These early compasses weren't that. To invent a compass, all you need to do is take your magnetic material, a rock, and tie it to a string. The string lets the rock rotate freely. The rock points towards magnetic north. There's your compass. Tying a rock to a string took you over 1,000 years. You were operating under the bad hypothesis that some rocks are just weird. Here's another one. We have a medical professional. What she's holding is called a stethoscope. Those could have been invented in 300 BCE. That date is from when you first started messing around with paper. They were actually invented in 1816 CE. You know why? You had a doctor who was a man, he had a patient who was a woman, and he thought it was too erotically charged and experienced to put his ear to her chest. So he rolled up a piece of paper and used that and left some room for Jesus. And accidentally invented the stethoscope, one of the few instances in which being too horny led to scientific progress. That's 2,000 years in which you could have invented the stethoscope and didn't because you were operating under the bad hypothesis that paper is boring and I hate it. Here's another one. We have buttons. You guys know about buttons, right? 2800 BCE is the year in which your ancestors first started attaching shiny rocks and shells to themselves as a fashion statement. 1200 CE is when you realized that if you put a slit in the other side of your clothing, They'd be practical. They could hold clothing closed. This unlocks all sorts of clothing that doesn't have to fit over your head to get on your body. That's 4,000 years. And what's worse, that's 4,000 years in which you all were walking around with shells on your shirts, thinking you looked like pretty hot stuff, when you really looked like idiots who don't know how buttons work. Bad hypothesis, fashion is never practical. 2 more real quick. This is a glass of milk. The technology here is pasteurization. Could have been invented whenever you started farming animals around 10,500 BCE, actually invented in 1117 CE. And here it's actually used for preserving wine. It gets reinvented hundreds of years later by Pasteur, who slaps his name all over it with milk. You're looking at over 10,000 years. Pasteurization is not hard. You take your liquid, you bring it up to almost a boiling point, and then you stop. You've killed the germs, you've invented pasteurization. 10,000 years to boil water. Bad hypothesis. Food goes bad sometimes. Oh well, nothing we can do. Last one. This is hot air balloons. 200 BCE is the year in which China first starts working with paper lanterns. You put a candle in them, the lantern rises up, hot air rises. 1783 CE is when you think to put a person in them. So you're looking at 2,000 years. But the thing is, these first hot air balloons in France were by the Montgolfier brothers. They had no idea what they were doing. They thought their balloon rose because of Montgolfier gas that somehow was lighter than air and raised things. Their first hot air balloons weren't the silks I showed with that turtle. It was a burlap sack with some paper. To invent human flight, you just need burlap sack and paper. That's vegetable fibers. That means any person at any point in human history could collect enough vegetable fibers, animal fibers in their life to homespin a big enough sack to allow you to fly. You're looking at the vast majority of human history spent without flight. People were gluing feathers to themselves thinking that would work instead of just putting air in a balloon. Bad hypothesis. Flight means gluing chicken feathers to yourself. So I feel bad because I've been coming here dunking on your whole universe, your whole timeline, but I have some good news. I've looked to the future. Tonight is the night you guys turn the corner. You're finally getting some correct hypotheses. It's going to be amazing. You're going to go up easily 20 points in the rankings in the next 100 years. No problem. And before I go, again, I feel bad. I wanted to show you some of the things that are unique to this universe, this timeline, the things that you invented that no one else thought maybe needed inventing. This is the KFC Double Down. No other universe thought to replace the bread in a fried chicken sandwich with 2 more pieces of fried chicken. That's on you. Congratulations. Here we have the canwich, which is the sandwich in a can. There's limited resources on this planet, and you're using them and putting sandwiches in cans, so no one else let Colgate make beef lasagna. No one else put butter in a glue stick, called it a butter stick. So just to leave on a high note, I want to give you guys an award for your timeline. Here it is. Here's the label. That says participant in Comic Sans. It's the best thing I can offer you. Thank you.